All right, and we're back. Today, we're ranking every arc of Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho. Both of these manga are two shonen classics by the great Yoshihiro Togashi, who God blessed us with because he's been doing his thing even up to the current day. Obviously, Yu Yu Hakusho came out in the early '90s, and Hunter x Hunter came out in the late '90s, and both of them got more popularity in the West through an anime. Yu Yu Hakusho again mainly during the '90s. Most people that were like me, for example, as a kid, a small kid, saw Yu Yu Hakusho for the first time on Toonami on Cartoon Network at night, obviously, and when I got older, obviously I rewatched it on Hulu or whatever I watched it on. And then we got Hunter x Hunter, which again, also like I said, manga from the '90s that in the 2000s it continued to gain momentum, but obviously we have the hiatuses and all that good stuff, which Yu Yu Hakusho also actually suffered from as well, which I don't know everybody knows that. But obviously Hunter x Hunter also had an anime in the '90s, the 1999 one that it probably continued into the 2000s as well, which I actually haven't seen yet. So if you're interested in seeing me like watch it and then give my thoughts on it, let me know. But obviously, Hunter x Hunter got a big boost of popularity in when the 2011 anime came out, and that's the one that it's kind of like really known for in the West over here. That being said, both of these manga, anime, whatever, have some of the best arcs of all time, and these are two of my favorites personally. So today I'm gonna rank all of the arcs, and then you see I got Killua and Gone with me. But they are about to go away in a second because now we switching over to this right here, as you can see, and we about to rank every arc in both of these shows right here. Okay. Now, what I tried to do here with the order is that I tried to go with the first arc of Yu Yu Hakusho, the first arc of Hunter x Hunter, and then just continue going like that. You know what I'm saying? As far as the animes are concerned for both of these, they actually have like pretty much the same amount, but because at the end of the anime for the 2011 anime for Hunter x Hunter is represented with the election arc, I'm going to discuss the two manga arcs after that. So it's going to go extended to Hunter x Hunter a little bit more after that. But without further ado, let's get into this because I get to talk about some stuff that I really love and is really fun for me. They actually, the way that this tier list was before, they actually just kind of put all of the first one, two, three, four, three, no, the first three arcs of Yu Yu Hakusho into one freaking thing, and I was like, nah, these ones kind of need their own representation. And so as we see here, we got Hiei with the Jagan eye right here, holding the sword that was the demon weapon, and basically, I made this one represent everything from the first episode of Yu Yu Hakusho where Yusuke saves the kid in the middle of the street and dies, and has the little mini arc where he's like a ghost trying to get his body back and all that stuff, mixed in with his first real mission as a spirit detective, where he has to track down each of these artifacts, and that's how he meets Kurama, that's how he meets Hiei, and he whoops that ogre guy first and foremost. But yeah, I think that all of those, with the climactic ending with the fight with him and Hiei, is really awesome. You get to see that, Yusuke is stronger than the average, teenager or whatever. He has a special intuition to him. We also get to see that Kuwabara has that as well. But you also get the introduction of characters like Kurama. After you have the first guy, I forget what his name is. It might be Genki, but don't quote me on that one. After the first guy, he's just a very straightforward, monster of the week type boss that Yusuke has to take care of to get that orb. But the next person that you get to, who, if you're just following some kind of like shonen trope or whatever, you would assume they're just, a little bit stronger, but, not super different from the first guy. But Kurama completely subverts that by having a real reason for why he wanted the forlorn Hope. I think that's what his artifact was called. And so that was really awesome. And you get to see an immediate connection between him and Yusuke by the end of that episode. And that whole interaction has an effect on Yusuke as well. And then, again, we have the climax, which is him going up against Hiei, who's just clearly stronger than him. And he has to honestly have a little bit of luck in order to defeat him to begin with. And it's the beginning of their great rivalry, not dissimilar to excuse me, not dissimilar to Goku and Vegeta, where Vegeta was like a little bit stronger to start off, not different from like Naruto and Sasuke, where Sasuke was more than a little bit stronger to start off. But anyway, continuing on, I say that to say this: if I'm mixing the early Yusuke, I'm gonna call it the Yusuke is dead arc with the excuse me, with the Spirit Detective arc, I gotta say, it's a pretty great way to start off a series, but I'm not sure if it's gonna live up to the great status once I start getting into some of these other arcs over here. So for now, I'm gonna put it in good, and then we're gonna see like as we continue. Okay. Next up, we got the first arc of Hunter x Hunter, the Hunter exam, and man, I remember I knew of Hunter x Hunter before I ever actually like really interacted with it, because I had the Nintendo DS version of Jump Superstars and Ultimate Stars, and basically I got to play as Gon and I got to play as Killua. I think Hisoka too. There was at least one more Hunter x Hunter character that was in that game, and it was really interesting seeing how their powers kind of worked and stuff before I had any real idea of the universe and the power system and all that good stuff. But that was my real first introduction into Hunter x Hunter. But once I really started reading it, the Hunter exam just hooked me in immediately. And I was like, oh, there's an anime for it. I started watching the anime maybe the second day that after me starting to read it. And then I went back and I read it, obviously, because the anime ends, and then caught up with it. I was like, I might as well read it. But anyway, I say that to say this. The Hunter exam is one of the best opening arcs for any anime, I feel like, any manga, whatever. Because you get introduced to so many unique characters. They're getting thrown into all these crazy situations where they're just gonna have to sometimes just straight up fight somebody, but really use their intuition to figure out what the contest really wants them to do. You know what I'm saying? And all of this gets subverted at the end of the arc, where they have basically a reverse tournament, and Gon loses immediately to someone that's just literally stronger than him. And it establishes the fact that, yeah, Gon is the main character, but he may never be the strongest character in the show. You know what I'm saying? This is hard for me not to put in at least great. So I'm actually going to put it in great. I think it's better than the first arc of Yu Yu Hakusho for sure. But I'm going to go back at the end and then reorder these. So we'll see if I decide to change it later. Okay, next up we got I'm going to call it the Genkai tournament arc, because I don't remember whatever the exact name is. And this is one of the most memorable ones from when I was a kid, from when I was watching it. Because I just remember that it just seemed like, I was like, this show's on demon time for real. Because they had the freaking bat that was in the forest and whatnot. And I was like, damn, Yusuke really is about to lose right here. And then every single moment that he goes through the tournament, he just keeps ending up in some kind of situation that's not advantageous for him. You know what I'm saying? Because, excuse me, he is able to, pretty much just go his way through the video game section because he knows his thing. But after that, he has to fight the guy in the dark, and the guy has a helmet. He can see for some reason. He got night vision. And, excuse me. Let me get some water real quick. He's fighting the guy that's actually pictured here on the left here, if you can see. That has the helmet where he can see in the dark, basically. And Yusuke just manages to outsmart him, which is really cool. Again, kind of dumb luck for him to beat the final boss, where he kind of just like got moss in his ears because he fell in the water or whatever. And Kuwabara got his ass whooped again. one of the great barometers of strength in anime, Kuwabara. So this is a tough one right here. Is it better than the Hunter exam arc? I want to say no, honestly, but I think it's still a pretty good early arc to an anime. But I'm gonna put it in. I think it's better than this one for sure. So I'm gonna put it in good for now, just because there's so many good arcs. So next up, we got the Zoldyck family arc, which is hard to even call this an arc, really. How many? I don't even know how many chapters this is. How many episodes it is? It's like 2 episodes, 3 episodes. Uh, it's an arc, I guess, but it is cool because you kind of get to see just how far away. Besides the end of the Hunter exam arc, you obviously get to see the barometer of strength, and throughout it with Hisoka's just presence, literally. But we get to see why Killua is so built different in this arc. You know what I'm saying? It's because he comes from a family of built different niggas. Okay, so it's cool for that aspect. They got their big ass dog. You get to see the butlers and whatnot. I really like Canary. Um, I'm not putting the. I don't think anything's gonna end up in why was this made. I'm not gonna lie. I just put that there to be funny. But it does what it needs to do. But does it absolutely need to exist? Not necessarily. And but it does give you some good background on Killua's character and how he and sets the baseline for why he's able to have the power that he does have later on down the line. So it's good for that. But when I think of almost all of these arcs, I feel like it just doesn't give me that same like, damn, I should go rewatch it because of this moment. You know what I'm saying? So next up, we got the Saint Beast arc from Yu Yu Hakusho, and this is a memorable one in my opinion. I would say that this is good for bringing each of the main four characters not only together but bringing them forth within their characters. It's kind of like a bridging arc. It gives us our first taste of the Yusuke group, Team Urameshi. There we go, Team Urameshi together, and we get to see them go up against each of these Saint Beasts. But we also get to see Botan and Keiko still have some action going on while they're back in the human world or whatever part of it that they're in. And so it's cool that Botan isn't just kind of on the sidelines, you know what I'm saying, or just making witty jokes or whatnot. And she got the badass red with the baseball bat, you know what I'm saying? It's a really fun arc to watch. And each of the characters has an interesting moment. Kurama's fight with the rock guy where he uses his whip for the first time and you get to see his powers for real. Hiei's fight is pretty cool too against the ice dragon guy. And then Kuwabara obviously fighting the Mr. Hairball is what I'll call him. Funnily enough, even though that's not the best fight out of them, that character was definitely one of the more memorable of the same piece. Probably more memorable than the rock guy and ice dragon guy. But as far as the main villain is concerned, which I didn't really talk about the main villain of the Genkai arc, I would say that the main villain of the Genkai arc is kind of generic, I would say. But he was really interesting that he had all these powers from just being able to take abilities over time. But he didn't really utilize it that much, you know what I'm saying? He only kind of used a couple of them to begin with. But it was a great plot twist in this one. Just to go back real quick, my bad, because I feel like I didn't talk about this one quite enough. It was a great to see like this villain just kind of blend into the crowd. I didn't think it was gonna be the guy that looked like Krillin that was gonna be him the first time that I watched this. And so the Saint Beast arc, some of these I'm also kind of going off me thinking about it and me reciting all these things about the arc and my feelings about it is kind of also gonna play a role into how I rank it, because it's like, what's that feeling that it gives you when you're just trying to remember things about it, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if it's gonna go all the way up into great, but good, it's pretty steady there. Is it better than the Genkai arc? That's a great question. It's tough. I, I'm gonna leave Genkai arc here for now, but it's liable. I switch these at the end. Okay, but great. This is a pretty good start for Yu Yu Hakusho. Even though nothing I put in great just yet, but nothing is subpar here. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what I'm saying. Um, Next up, we got Heaven's Arena, and Heaven's Arena is it's a really good arc, and it's basically like the arc where we're introduced to Nen through through Killua and Gon for the first time. You know what I'm saying? We get to see them leveling up, learning some of the basics, and the iconic scene where their ore nodes are being opened. We get to see the menace that Hisoka still is. I'm not gonna say still is at this point, but continues to prove himself to be. You know what I'm saying? He basically stops them because he knows that they're not really ready to enter Heaven's Arena, using his Ren to basically just ward them off and show them like, yo, you're really not ready to mess with these people, and I don't want you to die immediately because I might want to fight you down the line. You know what I'm saying? Which is pretty dope. We get to see Hisoka go beast mode on Castro, who uses that like double ability or whatever. But this arc has some of the worst net abilities in the entire show. I can't hold you. So basically, my guy with the tops, the guy in the wheelchair, they both suck. Zushi is pretty cool. I like Zushi. I like Wing. Zushi kind of, I feel bad for him. You know, he kind of plays the Krillin role in this arc because he is in the, if he's in the 80th percentile, you know, Gon and Killua are in like the 95 percentile, or maybe if he's 100 times better than the average person, they're like 1,000, 10,000 as far as potential goes. So even for him to be rare, they're just that much rarer. You know what I'm saying? But some of the best moments of Heaven's Arena are pretty cool and good, but it doesn't give me the same feeling as like some of these other ones when I look back on them. I'm trying to think of some of my favorite moments. Some of my favorite moments are definitely Gon versus Hisoka. That's really good. But a lot of the other villains that aren't Hisoka are not really that interesting to me. It does establish Heaven's Arena as a place and being a floor master and all that stuff, so all of those things are really cool. And come back because we later find out, you know, I'll talk about when we get to some of these later arcs, some things about some other people that are also floor masters. So that's pretty cool. Even though I don't think Gon and Killua will become floor masters by the end of it. All right, next up we got we'll call this the Yukina rescue arc, right? And so this is where we were introduced to Toguro for the first time. But this arc, you know what I'm saying, is low-key the weakest one in Yu Yu Hakusho. And it's very much just a setup arc. It sets up, you know, the relationship between Kuwabara and Yukina. It sets up the fact that it sets up the relationship between Yusuke and Toguro. And I guess Kuwabara and Toguro, but you know, even though they have an iconic moment together later on in the Dark Tournament arc, I don't necessarily think that, you know, they had any kind of crazy dynamic, to be quite honest. But continuing on, yeah, there's not much else really to say about this. It's probably going to stay here and like below all of these ones, to be quite honest. It might be my least favorite out of all the arcs between the two of them. So, but am I asking myself, why was this made? No, I'm not, because it's pretty obvious why it was made. It can pretty much be considered a part of the Dark Tournament arc and just kind of like the prequel area of it, which I'm sure that whoever made this tier list initially was really just gonna have this be incorporated in this. But I felt like it was necessary for me to have this as a separate arc because that's just what it actually is. Okay. All right, next up we got one of my absolute favorites, the York New City arc, and this is a shonen classic right here. It's a shonen classic for so many reasons. It introduces the Phantom Troop. It shows Kurapika's conviction. We get to see some of the coolest abilities used. Crollo, hello. We get to see that Kurapika has just been on a mission since the last time that we've seen him. And Kurapika is my favorite character. He's been on a mission, and he's been working with the Mafia, and he's been making the Mafia look silly, and he's climbed the rank super fast. And that's just because he just has that crazy focus, you know what I'm saying? He just be locked in for real. And we get to see an amazing fight between him and Uvogan, who is probably physically the strongest member of the Phantom Troop, and he makes quick work of him. We get to see the establishment of an early dynamic between him and Crollo, which still could come back and play a serious role in the current arc that's going on right now. And, we're going to get to that. I promise you we will. But this is a shonen classic right here. Too many classic moments. Indoor fish with Crollo versus Silva and Zeno at the same time. Freaking, man. I guess Uvogan just completely stomping out the Shadow Beasts after they was getting hyped up and stuff, but the Shadow Beasts suck. I'm not a fan of them. The part where Killua and Gon are trailing Nobunaga and Machi, and they get found out. Spoiler alert. And they get caught by the Phantom Troop, and then they're stuck with the Phantom Troop. And then Gon is just asking them questions like, why are you doing this to people and all this stuff? And Nobunaga's trying to recruit him. Like, it's just amazing, you know what I'm saying? The whole dynamic between Gon and any member of the Phantom Troop that he interacts with, whether that's Nobunaga, Finks, Phaeton, or Crollo, super interesting. He asks Crollo questions that Crollo doesn't even want to really ask himself, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think there's a lot of characters that really make Crollo have to internally think about himself in that way. So everything's great. The Requiem, the ending, the fact that Hisoka got super trolled at the end, the fact that Hisoka was a double agent in the Phantom Troop, working with Kurapika, cinema, absolute cinema. Pakunoda, absolute cinema. All right. Now we're going to yet another shonen classic here with the Dark Tournament arc from Yu Yu Hakusho. Yeah, man. I don't know what else to say about. I don't know what to say about this. This is one of the arcs from the 90s of a shonen anime that just kind of set the tone as far as like tournaments go. Obviously, maybe not the originator, but the super popularizer, I guess, was Dragon Ball Z. But when it comes to, this is just the other one, basically. You know what I'm saying? The Dark Tournament arc is just great. You get to see so much growth from all of the characters, and it's just continuous growth throughout the arc. And you can see how this one sets the tone for the Hunter exam when it does come out later on. It's just great. The dynamic between Genkai and Toguro, Yusuke and Toguro, each of the stories that each round of the tournament tells, it's not necessarily just about the fights or the abilities. It's about the backstories of each of the characters that kind of got there, but each of them are given the time that they need, but they don't take too much time or more time than they need. You know what I'm saying? They're quick and in and out, but they all are fulfilling for the most part, which you can't be mad at that. You know what I'm saying? It just gives you pretty much everything you want. And then the final boss that seems insurmountable at the end, but is able to be beaten because of a technique that he learns from his sensei and her doing the ultimate sacrifice. We think at least at that point. Yeah, shonen classic. Not much else needs to be said. If you haven't seen Yu Yu Hakusho, go watch it. Go read it. Do what you want to do. But this is a reason why, tournament arcs happened in so many other series after it. Okay, next up we got Greed Island. Alright, so Greed Island, I like Greed Island when I think about it, but Greed Island has some flaws to it for sure. It probably has the least interesting villain of any of the major arcs. Okay. It's a little bit too long. The training that we see is necessary to see for the most part, We get to see the next level that Wing didn't get to teach Hisoka. Didn't get to teach Gon and Killua. But and Biscuit's a cool character. She's interesting and she's strong. But realistically, she should be able to one shot most of the people they go up against. And she does get to teach Killua and Gon and sets the foundation for another level of foundation for them. But Genthru is underrated probably just because people think he sucks completely. I don't think he sucks, but I don't think that he's the best. Really, I should be asking myself, is it better than these 3 arcs? And I want to say yes, to be honest. But my only drawback, this one's probably going to be at the bottom of great if it stays here. Because it's just slightly too long. The pacing is just a little bit off. You know what I'm saying? If they cut out like a little bit in the middle part, I feel like it's like strongly and great. But because it isn't, I'm forgetting Razor and the dodgeball game, which are the best part of the arc. Hello. Razor is one of the best characters in Hunter x Hunter that we don't get to see again. So Razor low-key is carrying because he sets the bar for everything. He sets the bar. And it's better than these arcs, so I'm gonna leave it in great. But it might end up at the bottom of great, so we'll see. Alright, so next up, we got my favorite arc of Yu Yu Hakusho right here. The Chapter Black arc with Sensui and his guys that he got there. We got Yusuke with this is a Shonen Classic, by the way. This is Yusuke when he gets taken over by Ryzen at the end and his hair grows. But also, let me roll it back. The introduction of territories was just super genius by Yoshihiro Togashi, because we had an arc before that in the Dark Tournament arc where basically it was more so about fighting, it was about strength, it was about techniques. You know what I'm saying? But with this arc right here, it's a little bit more than that. It's a little bit more intelligence. It's a little bit more having to figure out what this ability is doing. And it really sets the foundation for what become then abilities in Hunter x Hunter. You know what I'm saying? So Sensui at the end of it, the plot twist of him having all the personalities, the fact that Seaman ends up working with them, Sniper's ability was cool. It was cool to see him use it on Yusuke in that one episode. The fact that the older Toguro comes back, I'm a little iffy on that part, but it is a pretty good plot twist. The first fight between Yusuke and Sensui is awesome because Sensui's right-hand man, or his friend, his special friend, puts Kuwabara, Hiei, and Kurama in like another dimension, and they just gotta watch Yusuke potentially die, and then Kuwabara busts through that thing with the sword that cuts through space and time. Like, yo, the first time he does that when Seaman's about to kill him in his water being or whatever, amazing. Also, let me think. There's too many good moments, man. There's too many good moments. And obviously the fight between Sensui, Kuwabara, Hiei, and Kurama after they think that Yusuke is dead, and they go at it when Yusuke gets taken over by Ryzen. Everything is great about this arc. So it's a Shonen Classic, y'all. Enough is said right there. More than enough is said right there, okay? Now we got oh my god, just bangers after bangers, yo. I'm not putting this in order yet. I'm putting it in order at the end. But the Chimera Ant arc of Yu Yu Hakusho, of Hunter x Hunter. Oh my god, how many things can I say about this? The only downside I would say is that it starts off a little bit slow, but it's a slow burn into a quick burn. You know what I'm saying? Because once it gets into the action for real, the action just keeps going. And the character arcs that each of the characters goes through, obviously the one for Gon, but also Killua, also side characters like Ikago or Welvin. Even though I don't like Welvin, the point was for you not like his character, but he goes through almost a complete metamorphosis by the end of the arc. even Shia Poof, we see like him just lose his sanity throughout it, even though he's trying to protect the king throughout. We get to see Meruem's growth. We get to see the dynamic of who is really the monsters in this world. You know what I'm saying? Is it the Chimera ants, or is it the humans, the hunters, the Nenability people? Yeah, man. The dynamic between Meruem and his royal guards, the dynamic between Meruem and Komugi, freaking Gon and Neferpitu, freaking Knuckle and Yuppie. Shoot, I'm not a huge fan of Shoot. But he does, I don't know, he's kind of wimpy. But he does stand up and he does hold Yuppie for a little bit and he motivates Knuckle. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. We got Palm is pretty cool. She's alright. Palm's alright. We get Bisky coming back. She gets to take them to another level. I didn't even talk about Kite. Kite is amazing. He was gone too quick. His character is cool. His ability is cool. He's freaking Jing's apprentice. Like, give me a fucking break, yo. There's too much cool stuff in this arc, man. And again, at the end, I'm gonna put these in order. But right now, I just got them where I got them. But man, I could talk about this arc forever. I could talk about all these arcs up here at the top forever, bro. They're just so good. All right, next up we have the last arc of Yu Yu Hakusho. We got the Four Kings arc. Is it the Four Kings? The Three Kings. The Three Kings arc. And Ryzen, damn, I can't remember my guy's name. And the other two. I'm not gonna say their names off top. So this is an arc that had so much potential, bro. It had so much potential, but there was a lot going on in the background when this arc was coming out. Togashi didn't want it to keep going. The manga, the publication wanted him to keep it going, and he was going through a lot of health issues. You know what I'm saying? But it was set up really good for Yusuke to find out about this guy that took over his like basically possessed him at the end of the last arc, about his I guess kind of fatherly relationship, even though it's more of like an ancestor relationship to Yusuke. The fact that that he gets to train Loki under him, really under some of his I guess workers, apprentices, whatever. And the fact that he becomes the representation of his part of the demon world, the fact that it turns into a tournament. You see, it had a lot of potential, but the part where it loses me is the execution in the back half of the arc, because we we get the dynamic of Hiei and the guy that gave him the Jagan Eye. We get to meet this person. We get to see where Hiei came from. We get to see like why he has this relationship or lack thereof with Yukina, but why he has that longing to make sure that she's safe. You know what I'm saying? And so all of that was just amazing backstory that we needed for some of these characters. We get to see where Kurama came from, and the fact that Yoko Kurama is actually the real Kurama. And man, just there's great stuff with this arc, but we just didn't get to see all of it. You know what I'm saying? It just got rushed at the end of the day. There was great stuff here, but we just didn't get to see too much. So it's hard for me to even put it all the way up in good, because it's not a satisfying conclusion to the story. You know what I'm saying? It's really not. So even though I said all that, that's potential man shit at the end of the day. It's not necessarily what the execution was. I think it's better than the Zoldyck family arc. And it's not better than Heaven's Arena though. Heaven's Arena might be on good. Excuse me. Heaven's Arena might be on good tier, to be honest. So let's see here. Next up, we got the election arc of Hunter x Hunter, and the election arc coming off of the Chimera Ant arc. The feeling that you get from this arc, you know that it's not gonna land up here in Shonen Classic, because it just doesn't give you that same feeling that this arc over here does. This one right here. So it's already definitely below that level. Is it a great arc in comparison to the ones that we have on here right now? I want to say it's as far as memorable moments go and stuff, it's not as good as some of these. You know what I'm saying? But we do get the introduction of Jing. We do get the start of his dynamic with Gon, even though we don't get to see the fruition of that, at least to this point in the manga. We get to see the introduction of the Zodiacs. We get to see the consequences of what Gon decides to do with his Nen power, the fact that he loses his Nen ability. We get to see the amazing moment of Leorio, which we don't have enough of those in the whole series. So, yeah, it's definitely a good arc, but it's hard for me to put it in great, and it's hard for me to. It's not a shonen classic for sure, but is it better than? Well, again, I'm gonna do this at the end, but is it better than Heaven's Arena? I might say yeah. It's better than the first arc of Yu Yu Hakusho. I would say yeah too. But anyway, let me continue. Let's see here. We got the Dark Continent Expedition arc. So now we're getting into manga territory, and the Dark Continent Expedition arc is pretty interesting, and it sets the tone for a lot of stuff. I'm gonna put this in great probably, but maybe good. I'm not sure yet, because it sets the tone and it sets the hype levels to 99,000. Even though we still haven't gotten to see the Dark Continent just yet, but we get to see what occurs if people even dare to go over there. You know what I'm saying? We get to find out that everything that we've seen in the story so far is only in this tiny little piece of a piece in a lake in comparison to this grandiose world that half of it hasn't even been explored, or has been and hasn't reached their little part of the world yet. So we get to see the introduction of some of these characters that are going to play a pivotal role in the arc after this, you know. But it's tough for me to put it like with above all of these arcs, you know what I'm saying? Because this one actually did get to finish, but it's really just a setup arc at the end of the day. So, but I'm being stupid because this arc has Hisoka versus Chrollo, and that definitely tips the scale for it. It tips the scale for it to be a great arc, because that fight alone, is it the best arc fight in the whole series? No, because Meruem versus Netero exists. So it's not the best fight in the whole series, but you could argue top two. You could argue it for sure. And then just like getting to see Jing and his expertise on this, and the fact that he's just been working his whole life towards this goal of going to the Dark Continent, or again, depending on if he's been before. But even the great consequences that this sets up, we get to see some of the stuff about the Kaken Princess and all that as well, and Beyond Netero. Beyond Netero is Beyond Netero really is an ankle breaker. It's an ankle breaker. And it sets the tone for everything after it. So we get to see Kurapika also become a part of the Zodiacs as well as Leorio. So yeah, it's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. And then we got the last arc that's currently going on. It's hard for me to rank this because, like I said, it's currently going on in the manga. But holy Jesus, I can't lie, y'all. Even with what we got right now, it's hard for me to keep it out of Shonen Classic. It's hard for me to keep it out of there. But the thing that makes it hard is the fact that everything we've gotten to this point has been, crazily enough, as crazy as it's fucking been, just set up for what's currently about to be the climax of the arc. But, oh my goodness, Phantom Troop backstory, freaking Nen Beast, freaking Princess, freaking Silent Majority, fourth Prince Aradnik with his ability to see the future, Benjamin and his army, the dynamics, the characters, the Game of Thrones-ness to it. Man, I feel like I have to put it at the very top of great for now, but it's liable to end up right here. You know what I'm saying? When this arc finally finishes, all the Mafia stuff going on, the Contagion game, there's just so much stuff going on, and all of it is great. Chrollo, his character arc that's going on in this arc. Hisoka, him trying to find himself while also realizing, yeah, I gotta take all these guys out. all of the prince's different motivations. Some of them just want to survive at the end of the day. The fact that we're gonna eventually get to the Dark Tournament, hopefully, hopefully. But yes, I want to put this right here, eventually. But that's recency bias. So it's gonna be the top of great, and now I'm about to order these. But I kind of like how I have this for now. We'll see. So out of these four, which is the best? Oh my god! All right, we got York New City, we got the Dark Tournament, we got Chapter Black, and we got the Chimera Ant arc. Whoo! I guess Chimera Ant is first, and then oh my god, and then I'm gonna go Chapter Black. I'm gonna go York New City, and then I'm gonna go Dark Tournament. Oh, that's tough though. That's tough. That's tough. And it might be, is it a little bit of bias? I want to say no, because I feel like the writing in this arc is so good. All the characters are so good. All of them have amazing character arcs. We get to see crazy powers. We get to see iconic shonen moments. It's number one. This one, even though it's not the most hyped up Yu Yu Hakusho arc, this one is right here. The Dark Tournament arc is it is the most iconic one, the Dark Tournament arc. This one is like Tagashi took that and took it up a notch. He reduced the number of characters, but he added more depth to them. Okay? And you got to see more of a psychological level to the characters than we got to see any other point before that. And now it's flipped on the human side, where basically you have to look at how disgusting humans can be, and the fact that humans can actually be the ones that could ruin everything for both the demon world and the human world. And it's amazing. Sensui as a character, so good. One of the best villains I've ever seen across any medium. Just so good. Then we got York New City. The Phantom Trooper are great. Crollo specifically, again, one of the best villains that I've seen across any show. Kurapika, the fact that pretty much anything he does is in this arc. The fact that he's just a crazy prodigy, Emperor Time, everything. The fight with Ubogan, everything. Gon and his dynamic with Crollo and the Phantom Troop, everything. Hisoka, hello. Nothing else needs to be said. Dark Tournament, most iconic Yu Yu Hakusho arc. Great characters too, you know what I'm saying? Just it's not better than this arc in my opinion. As far as the writing goes, it's very much more straightforward. It's very tropey, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's a classic for a reason. It's iconic for a reason. People are still trying to make Toguro today. At the end of the day, not just him, but a lot of the dynamics, all of the tournament arcs that came after this, even though that's also Dragon Ball, I know, it's this arc too. The current Succession War arc, I just can't put it up here yet. If I could, I would. But it's so good. It's so good. Everything from the writing to all these crazy characters they have in there. The fact that there's so many intertwining plot lines. There's so many characters that have different dynamics with other characters. It's too good to be any lower than this, in my opinion. We got the Hunter exam arc. It's one of the best introduction arcs to any anime, and it establishes all of these characters. It establishes Netero and the fact that he's not just going to be like your average, everyday, just very strong old man in the anime. It establishes the fact that Killua is not just about to be, Vegeta at the end of the day. He's really just his own character. And he's strong as hell, but he also has kind of like a darkness to him. But it's Gon that peels back the layers to that and brings that light out of him at the end of the day. Also, if you're just joining, let me know your thoughts on this stuff for sure, because I'm just on here rambling. I'm on here rambling, yo. But I love this. I'm sure you guys love this stuff at the end of the day. I mean, you're watching this. So let me know your thoughts for sure, because I love talking about this stuff, because it's fun. I put Greed Island here because Greed Island is, even though it has its flaws to it, it's still, the highs of this arc are really some of the best in all of Hunter x Hunter. The dodgeball game, everything that happens in the dodgeball game is just so good. The Phantom Troop, you get to see how much they have love for Crollo as a person, even though Crollo doesn't have that same love for himself. You know what I'm saying? Without them, it'd be hard for me to see Crollo just out here living by himself. They give him purpose at the end of the day. And they want him to be the leader, even if he thinks that they could just go on without him. So the Phantom Troops dynamic is very underrated in this arc, in my opinion. Genther's not the best, but another thing that I really like about this arc is not only is it partially set up with the York New City arc, but Jing, we get to see just how amazing his power is through the fact that this thing exists. The fact that it exists, the fact that Razor was someone that he basically bowed down to him, but Razor's leagues above pretty much everybody else in this arc. You know what I'm saying? So we got the Dark Continent Expedition arc. It just sets up everything so good. It sets the hype levels, the expectations astronomically high for everything that's going to come after it. It establishes characters that we grow with as we learn more about them in the subsequent arc after it. So I think it's a great arc, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. It gives you exactly what you need, and then it gets you right into the next arc. Let's see here. We got the Genkai tournament arc, and it's just a classic. It's not a classic because it's not in Shonen Classic, but it's a classic for the type of arc that it is, which is to have a character go through some trials or whatever, to have them have to discover which person is actually the villain that they're looking for. All of these things. It introduces Genkai. It shows the fact that Kuwabara doesn't just kind of have a sixth sense, but he's actually also growing and continuing to grow in the way that Yusuke is. And yeah, all of those things are just great. And even though I didn't put it in grade, it's good. It's really good. That's why for now I'm leaving it right here. But oh yeah, I'm supposed to be ordering these. I'm just talking about them like I'm supposed to be ordering these. Do I order the grade column this way? That's a great question. Is this better than the Hunter Exam, Greed Island, and the Expedition arc? I want to say yes already. Already it is. Honestly, I think these are in order. I might put this one ahead of Greed Island because it doesn't overstay its welcome, and it gives you everything that you need. And Greed Island does overstay its welcome just a little bit. So there's no villain to this arc or anything, really. I guess you could say Beyond, but not really. But the villain in this arc isn't the best one. You know what I'm saying? He's just not. And he's one of the things that low-key brings it down just a tad bit. And Razor, I don't even think you could call him a villain. He's just kind of a sort of antagonist. He's just kind of in the way. So that might be the strict definition of antagonist. So yeah, Razor's great though. Razor makes this arc also. Okay, so now I can order these ones for him. Again, the Genkai tournament arc. We got the Saint Beast, which is like, we might as well call this the camaraderie arc because it's the first time that the Team Urameshi comes together. And we also get to see Keiko and Botan work together. We got the election arc. We get to see Killua go super hard for Gon and to save him even though he loses his ability. We get to see Jing for the first time. We get to see all of the other Zodiacs, etc., etc. We get to see Hisoka one-shot Gote, whatever his name is, the butler. Okay, we got the first arc of Yu Hakusho, which is what I call the Yusuke is dead arc and the spirit artifacts, I guess. So yeah, all of those, this is one of the best introductions to an anime as well. We got Heaven's Arena, which is our introduction to Nen through Gon and Killua, but all of the antagonists outside of Hisoka are kind of lame. Their abilities are kind of lame. Even the guy that Hisoka fights, he's kind of lame. You know what I'm saying? But Hisoka looks fire, just as fire as he is in the Hunter Exam arc. Wing is cool. Zushi is endearing, but that's about it. It's tough. I don't know where to place this one in particular because I feel like I have to put it above this one for sure. But Election arc or Heaven's Arena? I'm not sure. I think Election arc is better. I think this order's fine actually. Genkai tournament arc, Saint Beast, Election arc, Heaven's Arena, Jagan Hiei arc. We'll call it that. Whatever. Okay, so then we got the Three Kings arc. We got the Zoldyck family arc. And we got the Yukina rescue arc. Honestly, I don't think I need to say anything about these ones. I think that the order makes sense for the most part. And I think I'm pretty much going to leave it there. Please let me know your thoughts on this and what your favorite arc is of each of these or of all of them. If you have an opinion on that, let me know what you think about this list that I made. And if you have one, tell me yours down below. And yeah, just have a great day, great weekend, and love yourself, all that good stuff. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe. Have a good one.